Okay, good morning. So I will write some examples here, but you don't wait for me. You start working on them one by one, and then we come back and solve it together. So consider the following quadratic equation. I don't know how much you remember, but we had some similar example last time. I'm just refreshing your memory, and of course I want to complete it. So consider this quadratic equation. This is quadratic in x, not in m, because you see the highest power in x is 2. The highest power in m is 1. So it's a quadratic equation in x. Determine m, the unknown m, the parameter, so that one root of this equation is 2. Then determine the second root. Okay, you start working on it, and I will write some more examples, then we solve them together. Okay, so these are higher level questions. So don't waste your time, start working on them. So I expect at least you have been able to solve the first one. The first one is very simple, it's not hard. Let me just review what do I mean by this. So don't get confused if you have more than one letter in your equation. Still, x is your unknown. The other letter is called a parameter of the problem, of the equation. So what is the question? What is the meaning of this way of writing? If I ask you how many quadratic equations you see here, you might say that I see only one quadratic equation. In some sense, that is true. You see one equation. In some sense, you can say that I see infinitely many quadratic equations. What does it mean? It means that for every choice of m, I get a quadratic equation. Of course, except if I choose m to be minus 1. If I choose m to be minus 1, then the quadratic term is completely gone. Okay, except for that exceptional case, any number m that you choose, you generate a quadratic equation. For example, let me choose m to be 0. Then I will get this equation, x squared, this is gone, this is minus 5, equals to 0. This is one quadratic equation which is generated from here by choosing m to be 0. I can choose m to be 2, for example. Then what happens? This becomes 2x squared, and then it becomes what? Minus 4x, and then it becomes minus 3. So you see, by choosing different values for m, I generate different quadratic equations. And when I solve these quadratic equations, for example, what are the solutions to this one? If I solve this one, I move 5 to the other side, x becomes plus or minus the square root of 5. So, but I want to generate an equation for which one solution is 2. So this is not the one. I can solve this one to see if one answer is 2, but this is just coincidence. I cannot start randomly trying the numbers to see which equation is an equation for which one root is 2. If you are extremely lucky, you might come with that answer coincidentally, but you cannot count on luck, yes? So we have to be able to systematically solve that. First of all, tell me, do you understand what is the meaning of this? So you're not confused, yes? This is in one sense one equation, but in some sense infinitely many. One for each choice of m. Is that right or not? Yes? Clear? Okay. Now my question is that determine this m so that when I replace that m with that value, and I generate a quadratic equation and solve it, see one of the solutions is 2. And then I want to find the other solution as well. Is that clear? So we want to find, you need to, by the way, you need to be able to read and understand. Okay? It means that I want to find m in a way, for example, which value for m gave rise to this? I chose m to be 0, yes? If I choose m to be 0, this equation reduces to this equation. And when you solve this equation, how many answers you get? You get 2 answers, plus or minus a square root of 5. So is this the right choice for this problem? No, because I want to choose m in a way that when I solve the generated equation, one answer becomes 2. So it is clear that m equals to 0 does not work, because if I choose m to be 0, this will generate this equation. When I solve this equation, I get 2 solutions. None of them is 2. So m equals to 0 does not work. Is that clear? But my question is that I cannot start testing all possible values to see which one work. So I want to find a systematic way to fine-tune that m that exactly works in this way. Understandable or not? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So how should I do that? This problem is very simple. The reason I consider it a high-level question is not, be careful, not because the algebra becomes complicated. Analyzing the problem needs a little bit more mature math brain, yes? That's why it's called a higher level question. So let me write one sentence and I want to ask your opinion about that. So what I do, I would say that one root is supposed to be what? 2 is supposed to be a solution to this equation. Yes? So I would say that 2 is supposed to be a root of the given equation. Let me write it in words so that in the future, if you want to read, remember. Therefore what? Can you help me? If 2 is the root of an equation, what does this sentence mean? Do you know me? Yes, I am Babak. Yes? So what's the meaning of x to be 2 a root? So root is the same as my name Babak. If you recognize my name Babak, root means something in mathematics, Mr. Root. If you don't remember Mr. Root, then there is no point. So you don't know that person. Yes? The root is solution for the solution. Yes, so it means what? When I say 2 is a root, what does this mean? You see, several times I am trying to tell you, don't say I can solve the problem. You need to understand what is the meaning of root. When you find root, what is that number? When I solve this problem, a primary school task, you want to find x. You find x is what? 2. What is the meaning of 2? No, what is the meaning? 2 is what? 2 is the only number that when you replace x with that number, this works. So this is important. Solving, everyone can solve. That is why you don't understand mathematics, you don't like it, because you feel that's just a rigid instruction, set of instructions. So you understand, whenever you find something, you need to understand what you have done. You can explain what you did, but when I ask you what is this 2 that you found, you should tell me one sentence. 2 is the only number that when I replace x with 2, the left-hand side becomes equal to the right-hand side. And if you forget about this, of course you cannot solve this problem. Okay, now tell me, 2 is supposed to be a root of the given equation. Therefore, what does it mean? Yes? Therefore, you can replace 2 with x. If you replace x with 2, what you get is true. Yes? That's the meaning of 2. Okay, so I go to my equation, replace x with 2. What happens? It becomes m plus 1 2 to power 2, and then minus 2m times 2, because x is 2 now, m plus m minus 5 equals to 0. Yes? Now, this equality is true if 2 is supposed to be a root, because 2 being a root means this. Yes? And now, what I am looking for in my question, determine m. I am looking for m. And the problem becomes suddenly simple. It means find m. So instead of asking you in this way, they have asked you to in this format. So you need to analyze the problem, understand that to do this. But then let us do that. What happens? This becomes 4. Multiply this in. What happens? 4m plus 4. Multiply this, it minus 4m. And then you have m minus 5 equals to 0. Now, is it hard? No. This is gone. And then I have m minus 5 plus 4 is minus 1 equals to 0. And then what is m? M is 1. So you see, the solution to this problem was so simple. But I still consider it A-level questions. I told you that this is not because the algebra is hard. You need to analyze the problem. Okay, but the problem is not finished. Then determine the second root. So what do I do? If you, I hope that you can make me happy. What should I do now? To find the second root. Yes?
Wouldn't you just replace m with
Exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you for helping. Yes. So it means that you don't understand if you cannot answer. I don't know how to explain better. You go and review. Your brain is actually not working today, I think. Okay, so this means that what is the meaning of this m equals to 5? 1. It means that if you go back to your equation, replace m with 1, it generates an equation for you. If you solve that equation, you have two answers. One answer is what? Without even doing it. 2. Because I did it myself in a way that one answer becomes 2. If it doesn't become 2, it means that I made some mistake somewhere. Okay, so let us do that. So this is one part of the problem. So m is determined. So I go back and replace m with 1. Can you see it in your head? 1 plus 1 is what? 2, 2x squared. And then here, m is 1 multiplied by minus 2 is minus 2x. And then m is 1, 1 minus 5 is what? 1 minus 5 is minus 4. Yes, equals to 0. And then you know how to solve this, hopefully, because you have both formulas there. You can immediately start ABC formula, but I will prefer myself to divide by 2. Whenever something is divisible by a number, I simplify it. Even if I want to use ABC formula, of course, in ABC formula, you don't have to make this 1, but you don't need to also make life hard for yourself. If something is simplified, it's possible to simplify, I simplify. So it becomes x squared minus x minus 2 equals to 0. Then that is up to you if you want to solve this using PQ formula or ABC formula. So let me use ABC formula. For ABC formula, I need to find D. Okay, do you remember what was the formula for D? It's on the board. B squared minus 4AC. So what is A in this problem? Is 1. What is B? What is B? Minus 1. What is C? Minus 2. So you put them here. So it becomes minus 1 to the power of 2 minus 4 times A times C. And then it becomes 1 plus 8, which is 9. And then you have the formula there. So x becomes what? Minus b plus or minus a square root of d divided by 2a. Yes? So what happens? Minus b becomes 1 plus or minus a square root of d, which is 9, divided by 2 times a, which is 2. But this is very simple. It's minus 1. 1 plus or minus 3 divided by 2. So how many answers I get? One answer is what? 1 plus 3 divided by 2, which is 2. And that is not surprising, because I did it myself to generate 2. And the other answer is what? 1 minus 3 is minus 2, divided by 2 minus 1. So this is the second part of this problem. So it means that if I choose m to be 1, it generates an equation so that when I solve it, one answer becomes 2 and the other answer becomes minus 1. Is that clear or not? Yes? Yes.
So they're always, like, if there's two variables in the equation, they're always going to be the root for each other.
What do you mean exactly?
Because here you showed that x, if you want to determine that the root of the equation was 2, you replaced x with 2 and then found...
No, I didn't replace x with... Yes. I replaced x with 2.
And then found the
M.
other roots. And then the
Okay, but I don't... Yes, this is what I did. But it is not useful to learn it in that way, because there is no guarantee you get the same question in the exam. You have to learn to analyze the problem. So you see, when I say that 2 is supposed to be a root, the only thing that I need to do to understand is what is the meaning of a root. A root means that if you replace x with that number, it turns out to be a true equality. So I just used that and found m, and then I put that m back, I found the answers. Okay? So if I want to show you, let me also show you on GeoGebra. Do you remember we did some simulations last time? You cannot call it a simulation, but you can imagine that's a simulation, yes? Yes? Try to understand this problem a little bit better. Might be you understand it in this way. So let me go to GeoGebra, and instead of going to, we don't need a lot of graphic views, so let me take graphic views off so we have a better plane here. So what we have to do, I start typing solve. Yes, this is my solve. And then I have solve equation. Okay, I type that equation I gave you there. So it is what? M plus 1. But let me go outside and put the dot for multiplication, x to power 2. And then I have minus 2 times m times x. Remember, put the dots here, there. And then you have plus m minus 5, and then equals to 0. So you see, there is some warning here. So why? Because if I ask GeoGebra to solve this, of course GeoGebra will be in trouble a little bit, because GeoGebra does not know the numbers, because it doesn't know m. So in those cases, GeoGebra will immediately construct a slider for you, so that you can start changing the values of parameter m using the slider. Okay? So for example here, when I press enter, you see what happened. GeoGebra, it gave you 2 answers, but for which value? You see, this is the slider. By default, GeoGebra always chooses from minus 5 to 5. And what value of m is right now? 1. And that is exactly, unfortunately, our choice, so which is give these answers minus 1 and 2. But let us see what happens. For example, if I start from minus 5, you don't get anything. What is the interpretation here? It means that if m is minus 5 and you replace m with minus 5, it gives you an equation that doesn't have any solutions. Yes? But if I start increasing the value of m, still no solutions, because this box is left empty yet. If I increase it, probably it will happen at some point that there are some solutions. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Oops, you see? It is 2 solutions there. But are these solutions 2? None of them is 2. So minus 1.5, minus 1.1 is not my choice, because it will not give an equation for which the one answer is 2. And then if I continue, at minus 1, we have only one solution. and that is 3. But that is not my target, yes? So I go here, again, I have 2 roots. None of them is equal to 2. But then if you increase, what we have done, we fine-tuned, you see? Because we didn't have GeoGebra available. So we immediately know that m should be 1. If m is 1, our prediction is that one root becomes 2 and the other root becomes minus 1. And then if you increase and see it, this will happen. Yes? Exactly. When m hits the value 1, one root becomes 2 and the other root becomes minus 1. So using GeoGebra and running this simulation, you can more or less solve the problem. But if this number is not within the range, you cannot calculate it using GeoGebra, because we were lucky. GeoGebra chose the interval from -5 to 5, and then accidentally the number that we are going to find is exactly within that interval. Let us say that the answer was 10. By this default, you cannot find that number because 10 is out of reach in this GeoGebra. So then you have to change the interval that is also random. So that's what I'm saying, that even if you have calculator or applications available, it is good for some cases, but it is not good for everything. Okay, after so much talking, I hope that you can tell me, one of you at least, read the problem. Let us read it together. This time, determine m so that the quadratic equation that you see on the board has a double root. Then determine that double root. Without even starting to solve the problem, can you tell me, explain it in words, what does it mean? Yes?
Double root is when d is 0.
D is 0. So in other words, means what? It means find m so that when you replace m with what you got, it becomes a quadratic equation that has a double root. Yes or no? That's the meaning. Again, I can choose a lot of values for m, and then I will get a lot of equations. But it is not guaranteed that all equations have double root. And I don't want to test them one by one. It is not possible. There are infinite many choices. How can I be so lucky to hit the target by chance? So I have to find a systematic way to do it. Okay, how can I solve the problem? Let us do this one together. Then I will wait for you for the next one. So help me to do this. How do you solve this problem for me? So you tell to yourself that the goal is what? The goal is to do something, to choose m so that this generated equation has a double root. You know that when equation has a double root, as Ahmed said, d should be 0. Yes? So we say that the equation has a double root if what happens? D is equal to 0. But for D, it is on the board. You need B, you need A, you need C. Okay, can you go back to this equation and read for me? What is A in this problem? Everyone. Everyone. 1. So A is 1. What is B? Can you read it for me? What is B? B is what is next to X. This package, it's minus 3m plus 1. So minus 3m plus 1. And of course, what is C? Everyone. All the things without x, which is 2m squared plus 2. All of this is considered to be my constant. Constant means without x in this problem. This is without x, this is without x. So that is your C. This part is not needed to write in the exam. That is for your own sake. But D is 0. So when you say D is 0, it means what? Everyone hopefully knows what D is. D is B squared minus 4AC equals to 0. Is that understandable? Why I put d equal to 0? Because my goal is to force it to have a double root. And then instead of d, I put the formula for d. But instead of this, I put this expression. So let me write it here. So b is minus 3m plus 1. This is my b. I want to square it. Minus 4 times a times c. Okay, but you have to write it in pair of brackets. This should be equal to 0. Yes or no? Okay, and then let us solve this problem. So now you need to train your brain like this. When you reach to this step, forget about everything you have done so far. Just concentrate on solving this problem. Okay, what is your opinion about it? I want to solve this equation. The first thing is to expand. This minus sign, what happens to this minus sign? Can you tell me? What is the destiny of this minus sign? What happens to this minus sign?
It opens up the bracket.
You can open it here, but this minus sign is under the effect of this power 2. And because this power 2 is even, it's completely gone. Yes? So why should I bother to put it? And then I just raise this one to power 2. And then we learned that in Math 2C, that is a squaring rule. So this becomes the first one squared. 2 times the first one times the second one. Don't get confused. Minus sign is gone because of even power. And then I have this one to power 2 is 1. And now, minus 4 times 1, everyone knows it is minus 4. But minus 4 should be multiplied within the pair of brackets. So it becomes what? Minus 8m squared minus 8 equals to 0. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. But I have to simplify because I have 9m squared, I have 8m squared gone, so it is m squared left. And then 6m, and then you have 1 minus 8 is minus 7 equals to 0. Yes or no? Okay. But what can I do for this one? Still I am looking for m. Don't get confused. I haven't found the m yet. I am supposed to find m. So what should I do? You will tell me you have to solve this equation. But what type of equation is this one now?
ABC.
What type of equation? I want you to remember the names. What is the name of this type of equation? Quadratic equation. But it is quadratic equation in which variable? M. But the method of quadratic equation is the same, no matter if the name of the variable is x or if the name of the variable is m. Yes? So now it means that I have to use ABC formula again for this problem. Okay, so what is A? What is your new A? Everyone, listen here. Everyone. 1. What is the new B? 6. What is the new C? Minus 7. So I have a new D as well. But the formula for D is the same. So this becomes B to power 2, 36, minus 4 times this times that. Positive or negative? Minus, another minus, positive. 4 times this times that is what? 28. Yes, am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So it becomes what? 64. Okay, but now I want to write the formula to find, but I want to wait for you. Minus b, I'm just copy and pasting the formula, but can you tell me what should I write on this side? Look at the formula. What should I write here? M, thank you, not x. Because x was for the case where the variable is x, but my variable here is m, so I would write m, thank you. Okay, then I put them here. So it becomes what? Minus b is minus 6, plus or minus the square root of 64, divided by 2 times a, which is 2. 64, of course, hopefully you know what's that? Square root of 64? 8. So it becomes minus, no, not minus 8, be careful. The square root of 64 is always 8. Yes? Minus 6 plus or minus 8 over 2. Then I have two answers. Minus 6 plus 8 over 2, which is 2 over 2, which is 1. Another answer is minus 6 minus 8 over 2, which is minus 14 divided by 2 is minus 7. So it means that one answer is 1, one answer is minus 7. Okay? So you see, this might be a little bit hard problem because the people who have a deeper understanding can manage to solve the problem. Otherwise, you will get confused with 2Ds, 2As, 2Bs, but you understand what is going on. Again, I hope that you don't disappoint me. Someone can tell me what is the meaning of m equals to 1? What did we do? If someone at the end asks you, what did you do, Baba? You got m equals to 1, but what is the meaning of m equals to 1 in this problem? Can you explain? Yes? No. No. In the context of this problem, yes, of course, you are right. This is the root of this equation. But that was not my target. My target was to solve my original problem. In the context of the original problem, what is the meaning of m equals to 1? Yes? Explain complete. Yes, you are right. If I put m where? M equals to 1 where? In where? Show. Here, yes, if I put m equals to 1 here, it becomes 0. That is a partial answer. That is what more or less Ahmed said. I don't care about, yes, you are right, of course. M is the root of this equation. That is the meaning of that. But I'm telling you, in the context of the problem, what does this mean? Yes?
If that quadratic,
If in this quadratic equation,
it has a double root, then, and, wait, no, I'm confused.
oh God.
Will there be a problem like that?
So Lennon, can you explain again? Do you know that?
If you replace m in the original with either 1 or minus 7, it's the double root.
Very, very good with a very small mistake. I mean, I understand what you said, but you need to say what he said that if you go to the original, these are very good words he is choosing. I really respect that. So if you go to the original equation and replace m with either 1 or minus 7, it gives you a quadratic equation that if you solve those quadratic equations, they will have a double root. Okay? If you understand, you understand. If you don't understand, there's nothing I can do. Okay? Hopefully you can understand that. It is not rocket science, by the way. Yes? Thank you very much. Is that clear what we have done? So again, if I want to simulate this, so for example, you see, this one is out of the range of default by GeoGebra. That's why I'm saying that even if you have GeoGebra available, just do it like I did before, you will not be able to solve this problem completely. Yes, let us just do that again. Okay, I hope that you understand what is going on. This time, what do? I will go and solve that equation. I type it in, x to the power of 2, and then I go minus, what is this? 3 times m and plus 1, and then I go outside x, and then what do I have at the end is 2m squared plus 2 times m squared, and then what do I have? Plus 2 equals to 0. Okay, so now so of course, why GeoGebra is giving the answer, can you tell me? Before, without putting enter, you see the answer here. Why is that? Because GeoGebra taking m, the same m. So it means that m is 1. And then you see what happens if I start moving things around. So here, I have, you see here, I do not have any solutions for this equation. But what is the first one we predicted? M should be what? 1. So let me go up to 1. And then you suddenly see here is still is empty. But if M becomes, it's still not empty. So I don't know why it's not solving this. I might press enter, yes? Okay, so let us just do that. Okay, now, so for M equals to 1.1, this equation has 2 roots, not double root. But I know that at 1 answer becomes what? 2. What is, you might think that is the answer, and if you have GeoGebra, you can get the full marks in the exam, but not. Why? Because we saw that there is another option, which is -7, and it is unfortunately not within this range by default. Okay, so if you want to fix that and see it, not fix that, you want to see it, you go probably here and go to setting of this slider, and then you go to a slider. You see the minimum is -5, this is 5. So let me change it from say 8. Yes? And then it goes from -8 to 5 now. And then you know what happens if I choose -7. If you haven't done something wrong, you see at -7, I have exactly 1 root again. So I hope that you understood what we have done. Yes or no? Yes, please. Yes?
The last is then
Determine the double root, yes? So in principle, the problem is not solved yet. If I want to determine the root, of course, GeoGebra did it for us. So in the case M is -7, it is still on GeoGebra. What is that double root? -10. And what was the other option? The other option was M equals to 1. But of course, in exam, you have to solve it yourself. So I go to 1. And then what is the other double root? 2. But if I want to do it myself, thank you for letting me know. I forgot that we had another part for this exam, for this problem. So what should I do? I need to go back and replace M with 1. So let us just do it here. It is enough here. So what happens? It becomes x squared. If M is 1, then what happens for my equation? Instead of M, you put 1. It becomes x squared minus 4x. And instead of M, you put 1, it becomes 4. Yes? You can use ABC formula, but hopefully you are quick now in understanding this pattern. If you use ABC formula, it works, but this is a squaring pattern. It's x minus 2 to power 2 is equal to 0. And then what is the answer? 2. But there is another option. M is -7. Okay, can you tell me what happens if M is -7? Let us see. I replace M with -7. Do it in your head. 3 times -7, -21, plus 1 is -20. There is a minus sign here, it's plus 20. So it becomes x squared plus 20x. And then I put -7 here. We have to do some calculations in our head. This 1 to power 2 is what? 49 times 2, 98, plus 2, very simple by the way, 100, equals to 0. If you recognize the pattern, you can do it faster. If you don't recognize the pattern, you can use the formula. But can you recognize the pattern here? This is x plus 10 to power 2. Why? The first one is squared, 2 times the first one times the second one is squared. So this is 0. It means what? X is what? X is, as predicted by GeoGebra, -10. So in the exam, this should also be included. So that is a long question. But I hope that you understand what is going on. I'm not saying that is a very important problem. This is just one tool so that we can review what we have learned so far to have it better implemented in our brains. Yes?
Is it a double root just
Okay. Is that question clear? Hopefully. You will get these kind of questions as A-level questions in the exam. Okay, now I really hope this is not exactly the problems that I have solved so far, but by the experience you got so far, I am optimistic, hopefully, that at least some of you can solve this problem without my help. I want to wait for you now. Let me read the problem. Determine for which values of m the equation mx squared minus 2mx plus n plus 1 equals to 0 has no real roots. Has no roots. What does it mean? It means that when you put it in GeoGebra, you get the empty box. For which values you get empty box. So it is good, but when you say I don't have any clue, it is a little bit disturbing to me. Why you shouldn't have any clues, you know? Again, this is the same story. Here, we force the equation to have a double root by putting d, capital D, equal to 0. This forces the equation to have a double root. This time, the same type of question, but we want to force the equation to have no roots. The only difference is instead of putting capital D equal to 0, I have to write capital D So let us review again. I don't know what has happened to your brain today anyway. I hope that I don't lose my brain now. So here, let me review. For a quadratic equations, a first degree equation has always one scenario. You get one root. For the quadratic equation, you might think that you always get two roots, but that is not the case. There are three scenarios. Because when you calculate capital D is a number. And when you have a number, there are three possibilities for the number. That number can be positive, that can be equal to 0 or negative. This means that your quadratic equations has how many roots? Two roots. This indicates, this discriminant indicates that here I have one root, which is called a double root. And in this case, no roots at all. Yes? So this you have to have it in your memory. This is not in the formula sheet, so you need to understand it yourself. Now this time, what do I want to do? I want to have the no roots scenario. So it means that I have to force D to be negative. Okay? For D, for constructing D, you need little a, you need little b, you need little c. Then you have to read it from your equation. Okay, everyone please tell me, what is little a in this problem? What is that? M. So you write it, if you forget, you write it in front of your eyes. A is M. What is B, everyone?
2m.
Not 2M. Minus 2M. What is C? What is C? M plus 1. All parts without any x's. M is without x, 1 is without x. Okay, now you start writing this. You know, if you want to write it correctly, you say that D is less than 0. Instead of D, you write the formula less than 0. And now instead of B, I put minus 2m to power 2 minus 4 times A times C, but less than 0. I simplify this. This is what? 4m squared. I multiply minus 4m in. This minus sign is not only for the first one, but also for the second one. And then what happens? This one and that one are gone, and I have minus 4m less than 0. Do you remember Math 1C, solving inequalities? I have to divide, I want to isolate my m. I have to divide by minus 4. That there was one single point in Math 1C lesson when you want to divide by a minus sign. So you have to flip the direction of this sign. So I divide everything by minus 4 to isolate my unknown. Yes, but because I am dividing by a negative sign, I have to flip the sign. This is Math 1C. Okay, but minus 4m minus 4m divided by minus 4 is nothing except m greater than 0 over minus 4 is 0. And that is the answer. Yes? What does it mean? Let us read the question. Determine for which values of m this equation has no roots. Now you understand, if m is chosen a positive number, then this equation will not have any roots. Understandable or not? Yes or no? Okay, so let us run this simulation here again. So I will type this here on GeoGebra, solve. What is that equation this time? Read it for me, mx squared, so m star x to the power of 2, and then what happens? Minus 2 star m star x plus what? M plus 1, yes? Equals to 0. So you see, here m is 1. And according to our prediction, there shouldn't be any answers. Because, you see, every m greater than 0, there shouldn't be any answers. So let us check. You see, if I go here, you see m is minus 8, I have two solutions. But let me increase m. Still, you see, when m is negative, I have two very weird solutions, but I have two solutions. If I increase it, I hope that you can see. There are also two solutions again. Two solutions. What happens, do you think, when I reach to 0? For 0, it is not clear, you see? Because for having no solutions, m has to be greater than 0. We don't still know what happens for 0. Okay, so let us see. I go here and let us reach to 0. Okay, but that is very strange. Yes, okay. This I made a mistake, so GeoGebra fixed me. But anyway, from 0 onward, you see, there are no, so why it doesn't go? No, it gets stuck.
Type X.
Yeah, so here, yes, okay? Okay, so you see, this problem was harder than I predicted. Of course, if you write this, I will give you the points. But you see, m equals to 0 is also not acceptable. Why? Because if I choose m to be 0, what happens? The x is completely gone. Yes, that was an accident. Because if I choose m equals to 0, this is gone, this becomes 1 equals to 0. I am in trouble. 1 is not 0. So for m equals to 0, we solve it in a different way. So the answer to this problem is not only this one, but also greater than or equal to 0. But of course, for this problem, if you solve this, I accept it from you completely. But this is the correct answer. Because if m is greater than 0, I get a quadratic equation with no answers. If I put m equals to 0, I get nonsense. Because if I put m equal to 0, then in 1 becomes 0. Again, no solutions, because it is a nonsense thing. So in principle, what GeoGebra provides us is correct. M should be greater than or equal to 0. But this is what was in my intention when I asked you to do this. Any questions? Understandable or not?
Yes.
Okay. So now, I don't want to solve the next one. I really want you to do this at home. I will solve it for you next time. But I really want you to think. I want to force this equation to has two roots. You know what to do. What I'm supposed to do here? I have to put d greater than 0 this time. I want you to do it at home, because on Friday you will get one of these type of questions in the quiz, and of course in the main exam. But now I want to change the flavor and try to solve a completely different problem. Okay, so let us do this one together and then we will finish this lesson. Consider the quadratic equation as the standard one. But I am telling you that assume that the sum of a plus b plus b plus c is 0. then I want you to show that if this is the case, one answer is always 1. And one answer is C over A. Okay? So how can I solve this problem? This is not all the cases, because in all equations, this is not guarantees that the sum of these three numbers is 0. But if coincidentally the sum of those numbers is equal to 0, when I was at your age, we had to memorize this one as well. So whenever the sum of those numbers are equal to 0, we did it fast. One answer is 1, and one answer is only this one divided by that one. For example, if you have this in your memory, which I don't expect you to have, for example, if I write x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals to 0, I never solve it, because I see that a is 1, b is 5, c is minus 6, and I see when I add them up, it becomes 0. So I have it in my memory. One answer is 1. And the other answer is c over a. Minus 6 over 1 is minus 6. So I solved the problem. But you don't need to remember these things at all. You just please remember the essential things. Forget about these decorations. Okay, so now we want to prove this. Do you have any idea how to prove? Mhm.
Maybe we can replace 0 with a plus b plus c, and then you can replace x with c over a, and then maybe
No, the first step was strange, the second step was right. So I don't know why do you want to replace 0, because 0 is the simplest number. When you want to replace, you usually replace complicated things with simpler things. But 0 is simpler than a plus b plus c. So why should I replace 0 with a plus b plus c? Of course, it might be the case sometimes. Think out of the box. Sometimes they design the questions that you have to think out of the box. But in this case, you see again, I am claiming what? I am claiming 1 is a root. You see, you are making the same mistake. In the beginning of today's lesson, I asked you what is the meaning of a root. And that is essential again for this problem. You see, the problem is forgetting. This is not hard. If I ask you, show 1 is the root of the equation, what do? You replace x with 1 to see if this is true or false. Okay? So let me write it in words to show that 1 is a root. I show that I have to show that it satisfies the equation. Yes? So how can I show that? The equation is this. And I want to show that x equals to 1 satisfies this equation. How should I confirm that? I replace x with 1. So I replace x with 1. And I ask myself, is it the case that this is 0? If in any way I can confirm the answer is yes, I am done. But 1 to power 2 is 1 times a is just a. B times 1 is just b. C is just c. And I ask myself, is it true or not? Is it true now? Yes, because it is given to me directly in the problem. Assume a plus b plus c is 0. So this is guaranteed. Now this means that 1 is indeed a root. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. The same scenario for c over a. I want to show that c over a is a root. What should I do? This time I replace x with c over a. And ask myself the same question, is it true or false? Okay, let us check. But this needs a little bit of algebra. This becomes a, c squared, a squared, Yes? And then what do I have here? It is BC over A, and then I have C equals to 0. 1A and 1A are cancelled, so it is C squared over A plus BC over A plus C equals to 0. I need to ask this question if this is true or false. But how can I simplify this? This denominator and this denominator are the same, but the denominator of this one is not the same. So I have to write it in the same denominator. So C squared A squared plus BCA. How can I write this with the same denominator?
The A is squared.
Yes, thank you. How can I write this one with the same denominator? The denominator of this one is 1. I want to have the denominator to be A. So what should I do? What should I write instead of C? What? AC. And then the denominators are now the same, and then I have to add the numerators. Yes? And then what happens between this one and this one and this one? I can factor a C out. Yes? It becomes C plus B plus A over A. But what is this number? 0. So it becomes C times 0 over A, which is 0, and I am done. Yes? So you see, I am telling you that under this condition, this equation has always one solution 1, and the other solution is C over A. Confirming that 1 is a solution was extremely simple. Confirming that C over A is another solution was a little bit lengthy, so that's why it's a level 3 problem. Okay, so please try to, I will upload the video to YouTube, on the YouTube, so you can just review things. But I really want you, before coming tomorrow, at least spend half an hour home studying this and do this one. Come with your answer here. And if you didn't understand this one, I will explain this much better next time, because we have to finish early now. We have a test. I have to prepare the aula for the test. Any questions? Thank you.